I want to start with this. Have you seen anybody like Jacob Misiorowski? And I know that's a crazy question to ask, but he's such a unicorn that I want to know.
That is a great question. I don't know. Like, no one jumps out at me. He's almost like right now, a more electric Jacob deGrom going on, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, when it comes to, Brewers fans wrapping their heads around what he is and what he could be, because he's still so young. As you foresee his career, which could go in a lot of different directions, what do you see as his floor? And maybe more importantly, what do you see as his ceiling? Like, what kind of comp or kind of resume could be his floor and ceiling as his career unfolds?
Yeah, that's a hard question. So to me, everything's going to depend on his command. I mean, and staying healthy. His stuff is absolutely electric. I see his floor. That's hard to say because if his command goes away, I've been shocked at how good his command is. His command isn't there. He gets injured. It's been crazy. The ceiling is DeGrom-like, and I say that with the most respect for Jacob deGrom of anybody. I think deGrom may be the best pitcher pitch for pitch ever in baseball. He's just been limited by injuries. So, that's where he could end up. Even, sometimes more electric. I think his personality is very electric. So he's just one of those guys you can't take your eye off of on the bump and is a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, with Misarowski, one thing, I'm not sure how much you tracked him in the minor leagues, but it just seems like to me he's taking it up a whole nother notch. Have you seen anything different from what you may have seen him in the minors versus what he's done in his 5 starts here in the majors for the Brewers?
Yeah, honestly, the strike throwing has been blowing my mind. He was like 75% strikes last game, and I did not expect that. I expected him to spray it a little bit more. Ability to hit his spots, focus. I think he just realizes he's on a big stage now, and it's focusing more pitch for pitch. So that's the thing that his stuff is amazing. I mean, his extension, his velo, the movement of his pitches, everything there has got it. I was wondering about the command, and now I'm seeing it, and then I'm like, well, what's his ceiling? I don't know.
Rob Friedman joining us here on Kyle, Brust, Nortman, the Pitching Ninja. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I love the overlays, and I want to go specific because there's an overlay that you did of him throwing one of his four-seamers in relation to his release of his slider, a 101 versus a 97-mile-per-hour slider. Have you ever seen anything like that in a discrepancy between two pitches in a release?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, a 97-mile-an-hour slider doesn't make sense, and it was actually not even a round up. It was a round down. That was a 97.4-mile-an-hour slider. Like, what world are we living in where that's a pitch? And then to be able to tunnel that with a 101 fastball, what are you doing as a hitter? You already have no time to make a decision because he's throwing it 7.5 feet closer to plate. He's got amazing extension. The ball's on you right away. And then you're just basically guessing. It's crazy.
If Jacob Misiorowski had started the season with the Brewers, obviously, again, the command, the youth, and all of that. But at this rate, he's had 5 starts, and he's played some quality opponents within there and bounced back and did it against the Dodgers. His back end of the lineup is hurt. I get that. But he still had to go 6 innings against the meat of their order and did so and got out of the 6th. If he did start the season, where would he be, in your opinion, in the Cy Young race in the NL?
Ooh, it's very tough it's hard because Skenes and Wheeler are both, at a notch of refined talent. I still think Misarowski's raw. He certainly would be in Atlanta next week, I would think. I'm still rooting for him to come to Atlanta anyway, as an all-star.
Ooh.
Would he be up in the race? Yeah, that's hard to say because those guys are so consistent, and still it's putting a lot on a rookie that's now taken a jump with command. I don't know where he would be. I would say, hopefully, I'd love to see him top 5, but I don't know.
Yeah, when you think about Milwaukee pitching, this team's evolved so much over time. But now you've got Misarowski, you got Brandon Woodruff back from injury, and his first start looked really good. Of course, you have Freddie Peralta. I want to know where you think this first of all, starting pitching ranks among best in the Major League Baseball, and then the entire pitching staff, starting pitching, relief, closer, because McGill just got named to the All-Star game too. Where is the Brewers' starting pitching rank in the Major League Baseball, and then also just pitching in general?
Yeah, they're certainly one of the more exciting teams, and adding Misarowski and Woodruff back, I want to see more from Woodruff, because when he's at his best, he's also a Cy Young contender, and then Peralta is as well. So you're talking about, top of the rotation guys that are as good as anybody. And then you have, the back of the bullpen. McGill is unbelievably fun to watch, electric, gets pumped up. Uribe too.
Yeah.
That's as good as any, 1-2 punch. So yeah, they're going to be that's a force in like a playoff series or something. What do you do against those guys?
Yeah.
I don't think you realize
vibes are high already.
Yeah, I mean, vibes are high, but we're hearing from the guru himself. I watch everything, and this is from like a credible person talking about all the things that we're saying that we're trying to get ourselves to believe. But now we can put the stamp of approval on it. So let's talk about that, because we still have to see Woodruff. It was one start. Can you get the velocity back? But we talked about the pitching staff, and we'll stay with the pitching. Do you believe the Brewers would they need to add to any of the staff before the deadline in order for you to say this staff is quality enough to win a World Series? I'm not talking about the bats. I'm talking about the staff.
Yeah, I mean, you can shorten your rotation in the playoffs, and is anybody going to want to face those? If you're talking about those guys, nobody wants to face that. Shorten games with your bullpen. I don't know that they need to add. I say that, and you look at how many arms the Dodgers went through this year and have gone through with the ridiculously filthy staff that can't stay on the field. You never know. It's not bad to have some backups there, but that's a good pitching staff, and nobody wants to face that. Nobody. They could shut down anybody. There's no doubt.
Yeah, you got me extra excited. I want you to get us here in KBN Nation, that we call it here on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, a little bit more excited. If you had to choose one, mano y mano, who you taking for a better career right now? Are you taking Paul Skenes or The Miz?
I got asked that question on YouTube too. I still think Skenes is a generational talent. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna I think Misarowski's upside is huge, and he does some things better than Skenes. Skenes has proven it over 2 years and been consistent. A career ERA under 2, 1.95. I just can't go away from Paul Skenes. But I will tell you, if Jacob Misiorowski stays on the path he's on, his upside is the best pitcher you've ever seen. So, I'm still skeptical with just the limited sample size. So I'm tempering my excitement. But everybody that's watching is saying this is the best. All the comments I'm getting is I've never seen anything like this. And I can't argue with that. It's like when Dwight Gooden came up and was just, no one had ever seen it, blew everybody's mind. That's what I'm seeing with my eyes. But I still am, I have to temper it a little bit. And Skenes has proven it over and over again.
And that's fair, as Rob Friedman of Pitching Ninja joins us here on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin, live from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Now, part of me does agree, right? Because I'm an idiot. I sat him in a, you make your lineup in fantasy and you can't touch it for a week. I saw the Dodgers were coming, so I sat him. But my question then is, right, it's 5 starts, and we're talking about the potential that he has. How many starts do you think Misarowski needs before you don't even have to think? If he shows what he's showing over X amount of time or X amount of games, that you don't have to worry other than for, his health?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking if you give me 5 more starts, I'm going to have a better read on it. I would love if he's throwing 75% strikes still and nobody's hitting it. Or even 70% strikes, whatever it is, after 5 more starts and is not walking everybody, that's a guy that I think has figured it out. And I think he has. I did a comp with him and I keep mentioning DeGrom, but I did a side-by-side comp of them. They move the same. Their arm angle's the same.
It's weird.
He's taller. Yeah, he's got really good stuff. And again, that is the highest praise I could give anybody, is to compare them to Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, and that is quite the comparison. And I'm just trying to think as a Brewers fan, as we're getting so excited here.
Because we've listed some Brewers pitchers in our time over the last, year or so, just random 1990s and 2000s pitchers. So this conversation is, so bizarre to be having.
Right, and, it always seems like the Brewers are underdogs and never quite a favorite. And they're still certainly underdogs for this year. But the big discussion here is, do they need – so, we've been focusing on pitching, but obviously with your knowledge of pitching comes a knowledge of hitting. And, Jeff Passan joined our station and said basically they're still one big bat away from being a true World Series contender. Are you in that camp where pitching they might be pretty darn good up there with everyone, but from the hitting standpoint they need to add? Or do you think the guys that they got that are in the clubhouse is enough to make them a champion or a World Series contender for this year?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. I would agree with Jeff. I think a bat would be really useful. That being said, you've seen teams with dominant pitching go deep and can win it. If you go on a roll, and absolutely this staff is capable of doing that from, the back end and front end, they all can do it. It's, all you got to do is scratch out a run. If I get a run or two, I'm feeling pretty good with those guys on the mound. But I would love to see another bat. I think it would make the whole lineup better, and then they'd be more than just an underdog.
I just want to mention they just swept the Dodgers without Rhys Hoskins.
That's a good point. It is
Andrew
baseball,
Vaughn,
but they also didn't have Muncy. Teoscar didn't play.
They still had $400 million worth of players on the field.
They are plus 215 to win the World Series. The Brewers are plus 4,000. So there is some perspective there. But when I hear that, I hear plus 4,000, and I go running over to 𝙆𝙍𝙍𝙍 Sportsbook to do something. Rob, this has been amazing to hear from you, from your perspective. Tell everyone where they can follow you and see everything you got going on, because if you haven't seen the side-by-side of Misarowski and 𝙉𝙊𝙍𝙍, or the side-by-side of the slider and the fastball, you're missing out on premium content.
You can see me at Pitching Ninja on X, Pitching Ninja on Instagram, Pitching Ninja videos on YouTube, and I'm on TikTok too at Pitching Ninja. So anywhere, just remember Pitching Ninja. You got it otherwise.
Well, I got it. I'll remember it. And thank you so much for the time. You have heightened the rest of the show and our expectations for the Brewers this coming season. Thank you.
I'm excited, too. I love watching these guys throw.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. It's appointment television. It really is. I was in person for the Miz on Tuesday. Do you now have, a Miz calendar where you're like, when's his next start?
I drop every single time he is on. I drop everything. He is on
yes.
my biggest TV. He just is.
One of us. Rob, great stuff, man. Look forward to keeping in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.